I know as much as you. You know, the word fracas is unusual, isn't it? So I'm not quite sure what that implies. What, you know, has there been a punch-up or whatever? There's always been problems, as you know, as a presenter, between yourself and a producer. You have your ideas of how a story should be presented, you know, the storyline you want to take, even the camera angles, the music, you know, everything else. You want control. And young producers come in with new ideas and they say, oh, we're going to do it this way, and you don't agree. So, you know, you have a row, and in the end the item gets produced. It doesn't often end in a fracas.
You knew the young Clarkson when he came on the show, when you were leaving it. What did you make of him?
Well, he was a young Turk coming in. He was more outspoken than we were. Bear in mind, when I was on Top Gear, we were a half-hour programme coming out of the old Pebble Mill studios in Birmingham. We were very well watched on BBC Two. We had very good figures, but we were always saying to them, come on, you know, give us an hour, you know, we can do more. And I think Jeremy, when he came on board, was saying that as well. But, yeah, he wasn't afraid to go for a car company in a big way. At one stage, Vauxhall said they'd never speak to us again after he did a road test on the Vectra. And Fiat at the same time said they wouldn't speak to us again because he'd said something nasty about one of their cars. So, yeah, he was always controversial, he was always outspoken, and that's the appeal. That's why he's made Top Gear into a best-selling international entertainment programme.
As a motoring journalist, does he know his stuff, or is it all an act?
Well, his shtick is that he doesn't know anything about cars, but that's nonsense, because he's a very good driver, he's a good writer. He writes, as you know, in 2 different national newspapers, and he writes in the Top Gear magazine, so he's a good writer. He knows his stuff, he's a very good driver, he's a very bright man. I'm bemused that this is all blown up. I don't know, you know, what's happened. And it's going to be a very brave man who's going to take Jeremy off Top Gear, because, you know, Jeremy is Top Gear, and he's made it into the huge success story that it is today.
Well, on the face of it, though, the BBC have suspended him. They haven't said they're having an inquiry or anything. They've just suspended him. They've already announced that I think this Sunday's programme and possibly the one after are not going to take place. Now, bearing in mind that he was on a final warning by his own statement, it would seem very unlikely that he can come back, wouldn't it?
I don't know. There's always room for negotiation in these things, isn't there? I don't know. The fact that the programme has become so huge and such a vast money earner for the BBC, I'd be very surprised if at the end of the day, you know, he leaves the programme. I've read some stuff on the internet at the moment. You know, Deborah Orr on The Guardian was calling for him to resign. I can't see him doing that, and I think it would be, you know, a bit short-sighted of the BBC to wipe him out.
I mean, conversely, there was a petition started a couple of hours ago, and we understand that there are already 25,000 signatures saying, keep Jeremy Clarkson.
I'm not at all surprised. How many million is the viewing audience worldwide?
I mean, there is a sense, isn't there, that, you know, how can I put this? He, as you say, he projects a very strong character, a certain personality, certain attitudes, and, you know, having the odd fracas, it fits in with that personality, doesn't it?
I'm not sure it comes down to having a fracas with your own producer. That's, you know, starting to get a bit extreme, but we don't know the background, we don't know what led up to it. Certainly in the time that I knew him, he got on very well with the production staff, and when you're as successful and as important to a programme as he is, you would have thought that the paths would have been smoothed around him. But as I said to you earlier, there is often conflict in production between, you know, your producer and the presenter, and you know who knows best about what looks best on television. At the end of the day, producer often says that he knows. You, the presenter, do you kowtow to it or do you stick out? And that's the call you make.